Bill flying out, hard into the wall. Now looking to the inside of Corey Green.
That was the delay. Sorry about that, folks. All right, we're back on. Call-in number tonight, 707-462-1407. Lines will not be open until half past the hour. In just a few more minutes, we're going to have Matt Scott on, number 35, NASCAR Women's Series driver. Sitting in for Johnny tonight is Kyle Tellstrom. Thanks for coming out, Kyle. I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Especially on such short notice. You're a special guest co-host tonight. Again, we're not going to be live tonight on Channel 3, but you can catch us on an actual replay at LCP TV Channel 8, not Comcast, Mediacom Channel 8. Check your local listings. That's out of Lake County. Also, you can see us at www.checkeredflag.tv. In a little while, we're going to recap the 2011 season that happened at Ukiah Speedway and Lakeport. We had some great ones at both tracks.
Yeah,
both tracks had a great crowd for as cold as it was.
Yeah, for the weather, we had we had great.
We'll talk about that a little bit later. Also tonight, we're gonna give a complete recap of who won and all that, and you folks can call in at 707-462-1407 to pretty much give your thoughts on the season and what you thought about that. We are sponsored by S&K Automotive, located at 1765 Main Street in Lakeport, and of course, got to give a shout out to Fast Lube Plus, helping us to also at 765 North State Street, right here in the heart of Ukiah. Thank you very much for sponsoring us and the show. That's what makes the show go around here. Anyway, want to get to some stats for Matt Scott, man. I mean, this guy's got a lot. Matt Scott, number 35. He used to race a legend. How about this for stats, huh? He used to race a legend. Only 18 years old. Was on with us before when we were on Blog Talk Radio. He races a NASCAR Women's Series late model, raced a legend car back in 2008, started out in NASCAR Women's Series at the age of 17. Roseville, he's from Pine Grove, California, 18 years old. He's actually does a lot of races with All-American Speedway. You can actually catch his website, if you'd like, at www.mattscottracing.com for more information. We're still waiting for him to call in, actually. I think we're a few minutes out. So, Kyle, while we're waiting for him to call in, maybe you can we'll get to that a little later, too. We'll actually do a little bit more of a recap, but we'll get it started while we're waiting. So, what happened in Lakeport, man? How was it? And how was your first experience, actually, back at Lakeport in 2011?
On Friday night, we went out with my my new car this year. I'm on an Extreme Asphalt Outlaw down there. First time being a V8, full-size car. We unfortunately only got 8 laps, and we blew up. We had some mechanical failures in the engine department, but we ran the 8 laps, and we were very, very happy with the way the car was running and handling and stuff. And my grandpa was thrilled, and we turned probably one of the best lap times so far in the class. The
what
first
were you
time
turning?
I think I turned a 13.0. First time in a car and stuff like that. So
was this the Outlaws you were?
This is the Outlaws.
Oh, so you got to race the Outlaws?
No, I hot lapped it Friday night.
Oh, you got the hot lap on a Friday night, but then you actually got back in your mini stock.
Yeah, Sean Keon and the Keon family. They needed a driver, and so I drove it 2 years ago and won the championship in it. Yeah. So I actually started out the night driving the number 2Q Ford Mustang, and ended up switching with Sean, and he drove that for the night, and I ended up driving his Pro 4. But we did some changes on it, and we put another car in class, and so it looks like a late model. So I had fun driving that, and it was nice, getting out there and driving for the first race this season.
Right. Yeah. Well, Sean, who we've actually had on our show before too, also raced. And how was his night? Oh, hello. You're on the air with the Checkered Flag Talk Show.
How's it going? It's Matt Scott.
Hey, Matt. Hey, thanks for calling in, man. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. I hope I did the intro right. Are you from Pine Grove?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you are from Pine Grove, 18 years old. We gave a little recap. I'll do it again now that you're on. Number 35, you were also on Blog Talk Radio with us as well before, which was pretty awesome. You raced a legend car back in 2008. You were at age of 17. You started in the NASCAR Women's Series in 2009. Is that correct?
Yeah, just turned 19 this year. I've been this is going to be my 3rd year in the late model series over at All-American Speedway.
Right on. So let's go back to your history. Let's start from where you started. How did you get started in the wonderful world of auto racing to begin with?
Well, my grandpa started in racing. He raced hard tops at Placerville, and, well, not Placerville, it was Grass Valley. It was in the 50s. He raced a couple times, and then he decided that he was going to be an owner, and Ron Heller raced for him. And then my uncle started racing. He raced mini stocks and Pro 4s, and then got into Legends. And through that, we went to a race at Madera, and the quarter midget track pretty much connected to the Madera Speedway up there.
Right on.
So we started in quarter midgets in 04, and it just went from there.
Right on. So you actually so what's your let's talk about your actual points. I noticed you actually are up in the points right now. What's going on with that for this year?
This year, we actually I would like for a state title and Wheelin' All-American Series, and the top 50 in nation would be good, which means we'll probably have to get a couple of races in Irwindale.
Okay.
Hopefully we can do that financially right now, but with our schedule at All-American Speedway, we have 16 races, and we need 18 to compete with.
Right on. Kyle had some stuff for you, too. We got Kyle Telstra in here, who actually races himself. He's the special guest co-host tonight. Johnny Miskell couldn't make it. Johnny, hope you feel better, man, on behalf of us from the Checkered Flag Talk Show.
How you doing, Matt?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. So, a couple questions I've had. I watched you race at Ukiah a couple times, a few years ago when I was racing Bandoleros, and I ran a mini stock in 2009, and watching you race the Legends and stuff. What was one of the really big things and the big keys for your success in the Legend car, and how did it affect you moving up into the late model class?
One of the big keys in Legends is probably just learning car control, mainly, letting the car roll through the center, and trying to get in the top 5 every race without taking fenders off the car. And also chassis. The crew kind of went up with me through my dad, my uncle, and now it's Brian Bates, PJ, and Keith Garrett. And we've all kind of moved up together through the ranks. So we've all learned together, and that's actually really, really helped our success because we all know how we all act.
Yeah, most definitely. I have people that help me out, and without them, it's it's really hard bringing new people in. You got to bring those people up with you to keep you. They all know what you do and how you guys communicate and that thing, and it definitely is a big key in the race car world to keep your car set up and they know exactly what you're talking about and how much adjustment is, or how much is too much, or how much is not enough, and things like that.
Exactly.
Right on, man. So you're a local boy. I heard you mentioned Ukiah. You've done some local stuff. I had a little talk with you earlier today. Are you going to be doing anything with the Airport Auto Brokers Late Model Series? I heard you tried that, and it didn't quite work out. Can you explain?
I'd like to do a couple of those because they're racing at All-American Speedway a couple times, actually. But
yes, that's in their schedule.
Think about 2 weeks.
We run at All-American Speedway. We have a spec tire, and it's an 8-inch tire, and they run a 10-inch, and the inside of the tire rubs on the shock mount, and it almost rubbed a hole through it in a tire test in about 10 laps. So we'd have to do a lot of adjusting to the car to get it to the specs, but maybe it might happen. I'll probably talk to Mike Dawson a couple times and see what we can work out, because I qualified Jeremy's car at All-American Speedway for him while he was running his Outlaw kart.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. So talk about a smart world. So you ran Jeremy Doss's car.
Yeah, his Legend car, I qualified it for him so that he can get into the main event at All-American Speedway for they have the K&N race there in the fall, and
right
he was
on.
there with his Legend.
Now, was that at the end of last year?
Yes.
Right on, man. Well, hey, the Dosses did well. They both won. They both won in the Airport Auto Brokers added Legend to their series, and Jeremy won the Legends, and then Mike Doss won the late models. So yeah, they chalked. We'll talk about that again later too, of course. But they've chalked up quite a win. That's pretty awesome, man. It sure is a small world. So let's talk about your You actually qualified 5th fastest with a total of 44 laps before spinning out and racing, back to the field, and you finished 6th. Let's talk about what happened and where that was at.
Oh, you're talking about the last points races?
Yeah, the last points race, as a matter of fact.
What happened that race? Actually, I think I qualified first in the qualifier, and the first 44 I ended up winning. And the invert, I don't really remember the invert. It was 5 or 6. Made my way up through the field again, and I was running second. And I was running first at the time, and there was a yellow. And I started on the outside. I elected to start on the outside because tires took a little bit to come in on the bottom. I was going around on the outside, and it was me and Zane Lovelace Jr. And we were battling out, racing, leaning on each other, and it ended up I got clipped in the left rear and got sent around. There was 5 laps to go, and I got sent at the back, which was like 17th, and I went three wide a couple times, outside, inside, and I ended up 5th when it was all said and done.
Right on, man. Right on. And where did that happen? At All American Speedway?
Yeah, it was an incredible race. That was, even though it was a fifth place, just passing that many cars that fast was one of the highlights of the season. Right on, man.
So, this year is your second or your third full year in a late model?
Yes, this is going to be my 3rd year in a late model.
So now you have a little bit of experience under your belt. What this year? How are you approaching this year compared to your first 2 years in it? You're comfortable in the car. You know a lot of the people you're racing with. How are you gonna approach it, and what are you gonna do, and what are the keys, and what are the really big things that you would like to accomplish this year?
This year, going into it, I've really been looking at it, just saying to myself that I'd like to start this year the way I finished last year. We really didn't start getting into the top 3, top 2 winning until about July of last year, and I'd like to start off the way we finished last year, which was, I think it was the last 9 races besides that last points race. We were in the top 2.
Yeah, I've heard of a few people running that series, and there's some pretty big heavy hitters in there that are veterans and have ran there a long time and that are pretty quick.
Right on. Also, too, I've checked out your website, which is pretty cool. It said you enjoyed a monstrous 2.3-second lead with still more than track, more in the tank than number 35 Chevrolet. How was that for you?
Wait, what was that?
It says here, at your finish, speaking of the speedway there, it said you enjoyed a monstrous 2.3-second lead with still more in the tank in the 35 Chevrolet. Do you know what that's referring to?
Oh, I think there was still more in the car. I could have pushed it a little further and been a lot faster that night.
Right.
Is that talking about the open show?
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have explained.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
That was,
open show. Exactly. Sorry about that.
At the end of the race, a couple guys crashed out in the beginning, and I was just kind of biding my time through that. And what ended up happening, there was a huge oil spill around the entire track, and I've always, for some reason, liked that. It becomes a driver's track. You can drive the car a little more sideways and get away with it. And it ended up to where my spotter he came over the radio and told me to slow down because I didn't want to waste my tires. So I did, and he came over the radio again, and I had to come back to him and say, I can't go any slower than this. I was going about 50%, and the car was still almost perfect. It was just incredible. My guys did a great job, like they always do.
Right on. We have a question for you in the chat room already. Somebody, trying to go back to their, I guess I lost the name. I apologize. They would like to know, highlighting your career in races, what is your most all-time favorite race?
My all-time favorite race, I have 2 of them, and they're both in quarter midgets, believe it or not. Well, actually 3, counting one in my first win in the Legend, and my first race in a late model. But back in the quarter midgets, what happened? One race, it was at Dirt, and I was racing a light class. It was called Light B, and I was a bigger kid because I was 14, I think, at the time, and all the other kids were 10 or 11, so they met the weight requirements, and I was 30, 40 pounds over, and the throttle cable snapped on the car.
Oh, no.
So we came into the pits, and my dad just said, well, we can't really do anything for this, so let's just put it up. I said, no, give me a minute. I wrapped the throttle cable around my hand, and I used the throttle cable with my hand and drove with one hand and ended up 5th, I think.
Oh wow, that's just amazing. So for those who are just tuning in and may not know, explain what a quarter midget is.
A quarter midget, if you've ever gone out and seen a Ford Focus midget, a USAC midget, it's a quarter scale of that. It's kids ages 5 to 16. They run Honda motors, old Deco motors. I don't know. Those are really old generators, actually,
Okay.
and they modify them, and they get going. I mean, those kids are going around a track, and I think the world record is 4.8 seconds.
Oh wow, so wait a minute, they're actual old generators that are used to generate electricity.
I think they were in the war, like a war way back, and they just used them, and
Okay.
they're not. That's what they based them off of, I believe.
Oh, okay, okay.
I don't quote me on that one because I'm not too sure about it. I just know that they're very high compression motors and they run really fast. You have to lift them off the ground and put them back on the ground while you're running, so that the rear tires can get spinning. And those are the fast motors that the kids run.
Right, and another thing about midget cars is they don't have starters. They're push started, correct?
Yeah, and they're small, so it ends up the parents,
Smaller ones.
they call them handlers, push the cars.
Right on, man. You got some questions for him?
Shoot, let's see here. Let's go back to your Legends Day. Did you ever win the championship in the Legends Pacific Series?
Yes, I did. I won the 08 championship.
Okay. You know, I talked to your dad one night when you guys were down at Ukiah, and he said, something, he'd much rather have you start out in that car being a little older, because I had a couple friends, say were 14 years old racing modifieds and stuff, and he said you'd much rather see you in one of those cars learning experience and little things that you were learning from the Legend car to move up into a big car. And now that you're in a big car, do you think you agree with what he did for you?
Oh, man, I do. The Legend car is the hardest car I've ever driven. I've actually practiced the K&N car out at All-American Speedway, and still the Legend is harder to drive. Going out to my first race at a late model, I had a second-place car, and I got spun out in second with 2 to go, and I went back to the field and ended up fifth because of a wreck. But it really, really helped me out in the long run, and I suggest going to a Legend car to any person trying to get up in the ranks in racing.
Now, it was tough to drive due to the small tires to the really big motor that it's got in them. They really zip the rear wheels off the ground, and it's just so twitchy because they're a short wheelbase car. Is that why you think it's the hardest thing to drive?
Oh yeah, there's no tire in the car. It's a real big time driver car. I mean, there is setup involved. You have to have the right setup, but you can be a little off on the setup in these cars, unlike the late model, and you could drive through it and still end up with the top 2 or win.
Mm-hmm.
Right on, man. Right on. So let's talk about your late model some more, and where you plan on going with now. Well, the biggest thing is I've had a lot of people asking me this week, what is the NASCAR Whelen Series? What's the Whelen Series?
The NASCAR Whelen Series.
Whelen, it's called Whelen, right?
What was that?
I'm sorry. Is it Whelen?
Yes.
So it's the Whelen Series. Explain what that's all about.
Well, Whelen they're a parts manufacturer, and they sponsor the series, and it's actually a nationwide series. And
Oh,
it's
it
a
is
weekly
nationwide.
Series. They don't have any traveling in it. It's so, but you can travel to a different track and run one of theirs and get points towards the Whelen. What it is a NASCAR sanctioned track. Their weekly series, the premier division from that track, they all get points towards the Whelen All-American Series point standings. And I mean, I think the top 3 in the nation last year, the top one was a tour modified that ran at 2 tracks at the weekly series. The other one was a dirt modified, and
Okay.
the other one was a late model.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's all over the board.
Wow.
Dirt late models, it's every single NASCAR sanctioned track, their premier division.
Oh, that is exciting. So how many classes do they have in the Whelen Series? Do you know, or Whelen rather?
I know because Stockton just went to Super Stocks, which is a little bit bigger than a street stock. It's a modified street stock, pretty much.
Okay.
That's their premier division. It's just whatever the track makes their premier division. I'd say anywhere from 6 to 10 different kinds of cars race in the Wheeling All-American Series.
Okay. And what are the you know what the age groups are that race with them? And
I think it's 16. I'm
Okay.
not sure though. I think they allow some kids like Chase Elliott raced at 15.
okay.
Stuff like that. I mean, because the premier division, I think the age limit's 16 and up, and everything else is 14 and up.
No,
Right.
that's due to being a NASCAR sanctioned event. They have their rules because you can't race NASCAR till you're 16. Is that why you think? Is that why the rule is at 16 years of age?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I think actually Sprint Cup is 18 and up.
Sprint Cup,
because
yeah.
of the size of the track. I was told by, I forget which track it was, but they actually, when they lowered their age, they had to restrict the cars down more. It's a kind of a liability type deal.
Yeah, insurance
And
wise.
they want the drivers to be a little more experienced when they're in the premier division racing against kind of the bigger, more known drivers that have experience. They want them to be experienced as well.
Right. I just like to make one quick correction. For those of you who are watching us online, it's pre-recorded because it's going to be pre-recorded on the local television station. You can catch us live right now though on www.checkeredflag.tv. Go ahead and you can go in our chat room, ask questions anytime you like, anytime throughout the night for our wonderful guest here, and of course, you can actually call in too a little later. But you'll be able to catch us on the chat room during that time as well. Real quick, I want to go over sponsors again real quick because speaking of sponsors, we got sponsors that makes the show happen here. S&K Automotive located at 1765 Main Street in Lakeport. Fast Lube Plus at 765 North State Street in Ukiah. So speaking of sponsors, we'll actually get to yours a little later. But I'd like to ask you where you plan on going from here and what your goals are, what your short-term goals and long-term goals are as far as racing. Are you trying to get to NASCAR mainstream?
I'd really like to. That's been my dream since I was little. I mean, my grandma said when I was little, I was in the stroller. I was the only kid sitting there watching the race, and I'd watch every car for hours.
Wow.
That's what I want to do. But honestly, my goal is to be able to race for free. I don't care what it is. If I could race for free, that would be a dream come true also. I mean, if I end up getting through the ranks, that would be outstanding. I don't know what I'd do. I'd be speechless, just kind of like I am right now. Actually, the end of the year, I'd like to race 1 or 2 K&N races and try to get in with someone in K&N and move on through that in the next season. And see where that takes me, maybe a truck or whatever it goes after that.
Have you ever been on national TV with your series? Is that series that you've raced ever been on ESPN or Speed Channel?
No, but I did go to the All-Star Showdown in Irwindale, and that was on Speed.
Right. Oh, you didn't race? Did you go? You went and watched?
No, I was in the race.
All right. So let's talk about your sponsors. Let's give your sponsors a shout out.
BJB Enterprise, those guys are outstanding. They're a group of chemists. They make all kinds of materials from foam to polyurethane. It's incredible what they do. RPM NorCal Racing, Hobbs Construction, TAS Construction, Carp Capital, and Jim Boy's Tacos. They all help me out.
Right on.
Immensely. And Doubletree Monrovia. They really help us out whenever we go down south, and I'd suggest their hotels to anyone.
Right on. Right on. So Catch Your Eye Motorsports as well?
Yeah, Catch Your Eye does all of our graphics on the car. If you notice, every year we come out with a new-looking car, and Mike Regan, actually, from Catch Your Eye, he does signs, too, at jacksonsigns.com. He
right
does
on.
Incredible artwork. He also airbrushed my helmet, too. And
oh, wow.
This guy is
cool.
just amazing.
I was going to ask you, actually, you must have read my paperwork. That was one of my questions on your... I noticed that looking from 2008 to now, I noticed your car changes paint schemes every year.
That's just the thing we do with him. It's just it keeps it fresh, keeps the car looking real good, and I mean it's still same cage, same most of the stuff underneath it, but we like to change the wrap up every now and then.
No, you mean wrap? It's not paint. It's all printed vinyl, right? And they go in there and lay the whole car. It's not. There's no paint involved in the whole thing, right?
Right.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's taken over these days, over than paint right now.
Oh, is it? So
yeah, I
is
saw
that
some
something
pictures
they're
on your
doing,
car,
or-
Matt. I mean, how hard is it to wrap your car with all the lines and the way it rounds and things like that?
It takes a long time. I think one side of the car takes about 6 hours to print.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. Wow.
But it weighs a lot less than paint, and it's a lot easier to change.
Yeah, seriously, you scuff it off one night, you can just have one printed and stick it right back on there in a couple days.
Exactly. We could do it in sections, too, so if a fender gets torn off the car, we can print out a fender and just do one at a time. It's not like you have to do the entire car over again. Like in paint, you have to match the colors and everything. We already have it on the computer ready to go.
Yeah, it's already there.
Right
That's
on.
cool.
Right on. Well, hey, we're gonna let you go in here in a couple minutes, but I wanted to ask you a question. What advice do you have for the young ones out there that are racing, that are just starting? I know we've got bandoleros and outlaw go-kart racers. What advice do you have for them as far as moving up through the ranks?
Top fives and championships really get you noticed. I noticed that after my championship, we ended up acquiring 3 brand new sponsors. It was incredible. And also, public speaking is so huge. The younger you are and the better you can speak in public, in front of a microphone, in front of a large group of people, the more likely somebody's going to go, hey, I want that kid because he is very professional in front of a camera. He's very professional in front of everyone that he's around. And just be yourself. Don't go out there trying to be someone you're not.
And shows like this too, shows like radio shows and being on talk shows.
Exactly, and support the little people too. I mean, we have sponsors out here that we've had since day one. They give us, $250 to $500, which isn't a huge chunk of change in a late model nowadays, but it still helps. So we still get their name out there, and we still help everyone out, and we get them in the local newspapers and try to help it any way we can.
Yeah, media I've noticed is plays a huge part in auto racing.
Oh, it really, really does.
Yeah, and like back on what you were talking about presenting yourself. Hey, you've talked very well, and I've really it's been so much fun having you on. We're gonna have to get you on here live one time. Hopefully, maybe we can get you to Ukiah Speedway or maybe even Lakeport to race a late model. Oh, well, late models, but in Ukiah.
Yeah, I'd actually like to go down there and race a Legend again. That was one of my favorite tracks in a Legend.
Yeah, all right on. Yeah, maybe we can get you out here, Lakeport and Ukiah, racing a Legend.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. And I actually know someone that lives kind of close to Ukiah, so maybe if I go out there again, I'll give you guys a call and let you know that I'll be there.
Yeah, and you can be on the show live. Hey, thank you so much for calling in, man. I really appreciate it. It has been loads of fun having you on the show, brother.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Anytime.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that was Matt Scott, number 35. He's quite a talker, man.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I'm sure he's been very experienced with his past success in the last few years.
Yeah, it was great. It was great having him on the show and everything. And so we're gonna actually get to the Ukiah's recap, but you've got some awesome paperwork here to talk about. Some stuff happened. Lakeport also debuted this weekend as well. So
yeah, we'll go both ways and see what happened this week and recap what happened. All the exciting
okay, sure. I'll let you do the honors of starting.
All right. This weekend we had 5 classes at Lakeport Speedway. Bombers, Jammers, Jammers Junior and Senior, Legends, Mini Stocks, and Modifieds. We'll start with the Modifieds, big dogs in the track.
And real quick, not to interrupt it, anytime throughout this, this is actually open lines now, so 707-462-1407. We are live on checkeredflag.tv. This will be replayed, so you'll be able to see the replay of it also. Call us and let us know what you thought. Continue.
All right. We had a 14-car field of Modifieds, very stout and solid. We had several new people come in that absolutely were killer fast. Thomas Wright, who's definitely been one of the faster cars in Lakeport Speedway the last few years, won the championship last year. I think he qualified 5th. We got new guys coming in there like Charlie Collins and Forrest Keek is running one this year, and people like Gary Collins and people like that, and it really made an exciting show. Charlie Collins timed it in fast time. Heat 1 winner Alex Andrews. This is his second year, but now this year he's really got a car. It's working for him. He was definitely quick. Thomas Wright won the second heat race. Aaron Hicks, driving for Furia Motorsports, won the trophy dash, and then the main event was 50 or 40 laps of nonstop racing. The fast guys started in the back, and Gary Collins started up front, and him and Danny Bishop pulled away and ran a really good race there, and it was a good, exciting.
Yeah. My understanding is that we're actually going to recap some of the other main event wins too. Charlie Collins. It was a great night for the Collins, this is my understanding, because of course we had Gary Collins in the 5X modified won the main. You mentioned him. Bam. How was that race? Did Bam Danny Bishop give him a run for his money? If I know Danny Bishop like I do, I think
most definitely
he had to fight for it.
Last year Danny Bishop, not trying to be rude, he wasn't quite up to speed with everyone, but towards the end of the race, Gary was slowing down, and Bishop was all over him. If he had a few more laps, I think he could have got to the outside of him and really made a run for the money, and maybe got the win.
Right, and then Lewis Tyrell, 74M, took the win.
Yeah, Legends.
Any Legends? How did the
Legends Pacific race was there?
Okay, how was that?
They were kind of a weak show. I talked to a few of the drivers there. James Bickford was there.
Oh yeah, James Bickford. How did he do?
He, first time on the track, he did well. There was only, I want to say, 7 cars. I talked to his dad, and he said, a lot of people don't like going to Lake County with the Legends because you're in a constant turn, and a lot of people don't like that. They tear their cars up. So, they had a small showing. They said a couple weekends before they had a great 1920 car count at Stockton, and 2 weeks from now they were racing at Roseville, and they said a big car count there. But it was kind of a bummer to see that. But Lewis Tyrell was there. Ryan Mosier, he won the trophy dash. He was definitely quick all night. Forrest Keeker actually won his heat race. He was running the Legend double duty Saturday night. Tony Mangini from last year, big step up. He was fast time. So there's 4 or 5 cars that were mixing it up there that are definitely quick, and it made for a good race. But it's too bad that they didn't have a ton of cars. Yeah,
that's okay. We'll get to that in a minute too. We'll talk about Ukiah. It's the same thing with both tracks. We didn't have a too big of a count with the modifieds. Mm-hmm. So it kind of to be fair was kind of both ways. And so the how was the crowd count? I guess the crowd count was pretty good for as cold as the night.
It was very cold and windy. Being really close on the track, it was very windy. I was in a fire suit and a sweatshirt, mostly all night. We went out because we do at the track there, they do the national anthem. All the drivers and the people in the pits go out in the infield and they do the national anthem. And I was really surprised. There was people in all the grandstands. They have grandstands clearing from the middle of 1 and 2 all the way to turn 4. And there was actually a really good count for opening night and being as cold as it was. That was pretty cool to see all the people there.
Wow, that's awesome. So hey, well, we're gonna highlight Ukiah now. Thanks for that, man. I really appreciate getting that. And if anybody wants to call in that was at Lakeport to give your thoughts, 707-462-1407. We're live right now on checkeredflag.tv. So we're going to talk about the wins at Ukiah. We had a great night in Ukiah too. We had a really good crowd as well. We started out with I'll take a look at the main event, just pretty much the main event highlights. Colby Furia had his very first number 97 coming out of an outlaw. He actually went to a Bandolero. He won the first heat race, his heat trophy race. We're not doing trophy dashes this year.
Yeah, they cut those out, I heard, and they're giving it to the fast heat, the winner of the fast heat.
The fast heat. I don't have an opinion on that because I'm just the announcer. But if anybody does, you're welcome to call in. That's what the checkered flag's about. But anyway, back on that, he took the first heat, which was pretty awesome. His very first time. Colby Furia's debut. His debut for 2011. I was very proud of him. He's only 8 years old. Very proud of him.
Yeah.
Thumbs up, buddy. I hope you're watching.
Yeah. I actually saw his dad. I get my car, stickered. His car was actually getting vinyl and stickered up too. I was talking to his dad. We were talking about him, and
he's got a great looking car.
Yeah,
this year, man.
They did.
His car's awesome
Apex Graphics did a good job there, but his dad was worried about him running. His dad, Colby likes to go. He's not a man to step down to be gentle, learn. So his dad was kind of worried for the first night to go out there and push a 2-hour maybe wreck or something. But he heard he had a really clean night, and he did very well.
He did good for the first night. There was a lot of clean races. There were some unfortunate things, and give him a shout out to Dylan Washburn. We had several that have a lot of move ups this year. Dylan Washburn, actually, who raced just was racing outlaw go kart. His car is great looking. He had some engine trouble and I guess some smoking and fire in the engine. Hopefully he's get that fixed. He had to pull it in, and of course, speaking of we're going to get to the mains now. I just wanted to highlight the one heat race because I thought that was Colby Berry took number 88. Number 88, Colby Berry, actually, who also races an Outlaw Go-Kart, actually took the win for that, which was pretty cool. A lot of these guys are going to be doing double duty. I can't believe it. Like, there's some Friday nights, and they're going to be coming around back on Saturday night and racing a paved track.
Yeah.
You probably remember those days, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've had nights when I ran Friday, Saturday, Sunday events. Racing's racing. You can't get enough of it, That
must be pretty tiring for a kid, though. You know what I mean?
When I was a kid, actually, I was racing go-karts. Friday night we had a QRC All-Star Tour, which is a touring event where we ran all over California. So we'd race that, and then, we'd race cycling for points on Saturday, and then on Sunday, we'd have another event or something, or a 2-day show, and, then I actually could do it. And now, focusing the way I drive now and how hard it is, I get more tired now really focusing and stuff. I mean, when I went to Shasta last year, I couldn't make it home. I'd fall asleep in the first 20 minutes on the ride home.
Oh, I fell asleep on the ride home Saturday with my friend Saturday night because I did I'm announcing for other stuff too. So then I had that night, and it was great though. We had a lot of fun. Anyway, so the Airport Autobrokers late models debut night. We talked about that a little bit. The Dosses, it was great great night for the Dosses. Jeremy Doss won the main event in the Airport Autobrokers Legends, which is a new series they've added to Airport Autobrokers late models. First year. Mike Doss took the win, but not before he got a run for his money, though, from Trevor Cristiani. The 60 car, Trevor Cristiani was, they were like this. There was times when I saw Trevor doing this, and so he didn't, it wasn't an easy win for him, let's just say that.
Trevor's number 90 car this year, right? Or did they change numbers for him this year?
Oh, it is number 90. Did I say 60?
You said 60.
I did. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's number 90 this year. I
heard they had a very strong field of Airport Autobrokers late models
90,
and stuff,
yeah.
and Trevor's racing for Mike Doss this year, and so all those cars are definitely fast. I heard a lot of new guys I saw on the way home actually coming back from Lake County. I was going down the freeway and I saw a lot of new cars pulling the freeway and stuff. So that's good that they had a good.
Yeah, they did have some new ones. We had a best appearing car contest too, which was great. The 05 car, Jeremy Donahue won the best appearing car contest for that. Anyway, you guys can go to ukaispeedway.com for more info on that, and of course mylaps.com to get the whole entire thing.
Yeah, it shows you times and
shows you times and all the
good
good stuff and everything. And then of course Dustin DeRozier won the modifieds. Like I said, we had only about a modified pack of about 5.
So I heard Kyle Borden, number 39 modified. He's from Shasta, and he's a real heavy hitter up there. What happened there? How'd he do?
Kyle Borden, he did good. He did good for a while. What I can recollect is he was up there for a while, and then he ended up falling back. So he was there. Is that a friend of yours? You know Kyle? Or
no, just racing there. Last year I saw him, and he was very quick up there. So
Yeah.
I definitely followed him racing up there because he was up front a lot.
Right
so.
on. Then the Bombers, we had a great pack of Bombers. We had you guys had a good pack too, right?
Yeah, we had
I saw you guys had.
I want to say we had 14, 15 cars. And,
yeah, we had about 18
and new
ourselves
cars too.
Oh, new ones.
I mean, we had Brian Denton, who longtime modified drivers, 8-9 years ago. I didn't realize how I look at my laps today, but he's back. So that's nice to see him back after a long leave of absence and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's great seeing these guys come back after being gone. Northern California racing. So then we had Jimmy Sorrell, 66 car, won the main event. This is his second year in a row. He did it in 2010 on the debut night. He did it again this season for the 2011 season opener. It was just a great night for that too. We had, as a matter of fact, Rick Tomala in the number 28 car. I was teasing him. I called him the Spin King because he had a little bit of trouble with his car. His car spun out. He said he's going to get it fixed, and he'll be back in the next one. So that was a really good race too. Having that one there. That was just an awesome.
No, I'd like to, because I would like to know for my own information. How was the Legend race? They brought. They heard they brought a lot of cars. They had a lot of cars there.
The Legend race was good. There was so many Legend cars. Is that we had not only had 1, 2, but we had 3. We had a total of 3 heat races with this.
Wow.
And Nadine Strauss, if you're watching, you can actually give your thoughts too. 707-462-1407. I think she's watching. We had a great night. Yeah, there was 3 of them. We had a great pack of Legend cars. The number 13 car, Lightning Rod. I call him Lightning Rod. David Fisher. He was up there most of the night. Like I said, the 75 car, Jeremy Doss. He won. It was a great race. If I can remember the pack, I think we had about 18 of those too.
Yeah, that's a good count. That's cool. That's a new division that spiraled up. It has nothing to do with like the Legends Pacific, which is the one that travels around Northern California. But
it was a Legend. It was the cars, and it was made by Airport Auto Brokers, late models.
No, I heard there was a lot of younger kids that came into the class, like Zachary Frazier was his first
Zachary
race,
Frazier's
and,
in there. Yeah, there's
a lot of young kids that came up from Bandoleros and things like that. So that's pretty cool to see that.
Yeah, a lot of those kids have moved. A lot of those kids that have moved up too. From Bandoleros to
I think
Legends.
I saw Logan Zampa's name in there as well.
Logan Zampa did a great job of racing on. He did a great job of racing on Saturday night. So yeah, there was quite a few. So let's talk about the upcoming races. We've got some upcoming races. The next one at Ukiah is going to be the 16th, and the first points race of the season for the Pro 4 modifieds. You probably remember those days.
Yeah.
Are you going to race your Pro 4?
No. It's sitting in the trailer. I'm moving up. I got. I did really well last year.
Maybe sell it, loan it.
Oh, not loan it. If someone wants to buy it, it's a very nice car. If someone wants to buy it, but no, I stepped up and I got bigger, better things to go run now.
And then, of course, the Street Stocks, April 16th, that's the first points race for the Street Stocks. Also in attendance, the Bombers, Legends, and Bandoleros. So that'll be happening there. And I believe, if I'm wrong, Kids Rides as well. I thought I saw Kids Rides somewhere in there. If I'm wrong, Nadine, call me, let me know. Nadine Strauss is kind of my boss. She likes to correct me anyway, so this might be a good chance to do it on live.
Information out there right.
On live TV in front of people. And then, of course, let's get to the 23rd. We've got two races going on the 23rd. And in all fairness, I'd like to say for those of you who are in the Lake County area and you want to save on the gas money, and you want to see a really, really good race anyway, so let's put it that way. Lakeport, April 23rd. Modified Street Stocks. We have Jammers, Pro Jammers, and Junior Jammers. I'll ask you in a little bit about what those are all about, what the difference is. Bombers, the first round of Extreme Asphalt Outlaws.
Yeah, the unveiling of them.
That's the unveiling, the first race.
Yeah,
how many of them are expected for that show?
I think we're going to hit 13 to 14.
Wow.
We had a car show, and we had 9 of them there. And, they're all good-looking cars. People really put the time and the effort. They're, very clean and nice. We're going to have some pretty good drivers.
And your car is a very good-looking car. And I believe, Tech, do we have a one-up we can show? I believe there's one there. Let's take a look at Kyle Telstrom's car. I did. I actually got a photo of it. I snagged your photo, so.
Yeah, no. So that's what I'm running this year. So it's definitely first year in a V8. First time in a big car.
Right on. Do we have it up now, or? Okay, I got the delay here. There we go. I got the delay here on mine. So this is 2011 Always Proud, Kyle Telstrom. That's a great looking car there, Kyle. You have the same paint scheme on your car as you did for your Pro 4 and your.
Yeah, the guys who actually. The guys who wrapped my car, I got a hold of them. They did a really good job. And I just said, hey, can you guys base it off of this? And they took it to a whole new level. That's, I said simple, and they really did a really nice job and took it over the top, and it looks, brilliant and amazing. I got to thank Cindy for making that, little intro picture there. It's pretty cool looking. So.
Right on. So then we've got this first round of Outlaws. Now let's talk about what the difference between a pro. We have Jammers. They have Jammers over there, which they've been doing. This is the third season of the Jammers.
I believe
is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so. What are the differences? They got this year or last year they unveiled the different kinds of Pro Jammers and the Junior Jammers. So what's the difference? Is there age
this
difference,
is the entry division of racing now. The mini stock was, but now there's this Junior Jammer.
I know in Shasta they've called them Hornets.
That's a Hornet. They do a little bit drive. They put tires on them. But anyways, for the kids though, they race them all as one. So all the race cars. So it makes it look like there's a big field. But what they do is there's an age group. From whatever. I think it's I want to say 14 or whatever, or if you win the championship, move up. But there's adults that race the senior jammers, and then the junior jammers are the kids, that are learning, so they actually can place and run better than and not have all these veterans coming out there and getting them. So
right on. Nadine Strauss is in the chat room. She can't get us, so I'll type to her so she can call us. So we can, kind of help us recap the Ukiah one. So let's talk about Ukiah. We did do the recap. Let's talk about what's coming up at Ukiah, April 16th and the 23rd. As a matter of fact, the 23rd is the first round of what they're calling this is where I want Nadine to call us, 462-1407, to let us know there's a tri-track challenge. You might know a little bit about.
I've heard a little bit
about
that. Last year running the Pro 4 Modified, we traveled. We ran Ukiah, Lakeport, Shasta, Eureka, and we ran Stockton in the year. Well, supposedly the promoters from Ukiah Shasta and Redwood Acres Speedway have came together, and they're going to run, I believe, 2 races at each track. Modifieds haven't been to Eureka in a while. So I think they put, a 6-race series together so they can get modifieds running up there and travel around because, Shasta has, on a good night, they have a lot of good cars that are fast. And Eureka is a very fun track. It's totally different driving around here. It's a big 3/8 mile.
That's the Redwood Acres Raceway track.
Acres,
yeah, that's the part of the Tri-Track Challenge.
I hear about that. I hope they have good success this year, and with that, because that'd be a good series to show for the fans.
Right, and they're also doing a thing this year too, and called Four Bangers. And I wanted to, hopefully Nadine's watching, she can call us and let us know about those. That is still kind of a mystery to me. I think they're basically, they're almost a version of a mini stock, am I correct? Kind of like sort of, or have you even heard anything about
I've heard of them. My understanding of them is more about, like kind of a Jam or a Hornet. It's a
Right.
car they put a frame in, and kids go race them. It's not like they're a really big race
Right.
car. They're not
Right.
putting motors, but you pull them off the street, put a roll cage in them, make them look good, and have a fun
Right.
racing division that's kind of cheap and entry level.
Right. Of course, we're doing those along with Bombers, Legends, and Bandoleros for that race. So we'll go. So then, like I said, there's 2 races on the 23rd. If you happen to be in the Ukiah area, come out to this one. If you're in the Lakeport area, come out to that one. That's kind of wow. I'm real excited about the Extreme Asphalt Outlaws. I kind of wish I could clone myself. Yeah, this is what you clone. I could be in 2 places at once.
It's so different. The body's
so.
off of a dirt late model. These big, wide, floaty things. Getting it in the trailer, honestly, my trailer, I have a 1/2 inch on each side. They are so wide and so long. They're just totally different.
Well, here's the bigger question: How is it going to be with such a big car, and considering the fact that Lakeport has a wall all the way around? So how is it going to be with racing around the track? How was it?
In the Pro 4 Modified, I felt I was getting really close to the wall running my lines and stuff. And I went out hot lapped it, and I realized, wow, there actually is a lot of room. I was really worried about, man, it's going to be really tight racing. But, there is some good room there. And
so how many cars were hot lapping? I know.
I went out all by myself for my set, but there were 3 or 4 other cars there that were there. Forrest Keeker, Wade Coleman, David Jones, and then Justin Dutcher. And
yeah, David Jones. I've talked to Wade Coleman on Facebook. Now, I actually was rehearsing. We're going to get to some announcements too here in a minute. One of the many things I'm doing, I'm theater acting. I'm going to be in Wizard of Oz. We'll talk about that in a minute. But when I was rehearsing for Wizard of Oz, I went out there and I noticed that they had these little cars that they were racing. What are those shifters? What are those shifters all
cards. It's a little shifter car. It's basically a form of an outlaw cart, except they don't have a roll cage on the outside.
Okay.
But they range from 80cc 2-stroke engines to 125s. They race at Sears Point, and they absolutely haul. They are super fast. They got disc brakes all the way around. There's no seatbelts involved. They sit in there, but that's definitely a finesse drive, and those things are a lot of G-forces driving through the turns, and they go pretty good. And one of the officials at Lakeport, his kids have ran them forever, and they just want to go play around with them, so they practice them once in a while.
So what about is that going to be a class they're racing at all this year, or just playing around with them?
That's just playing.
Okay.
I don't know how it'll work on a
So what about
track.
these lawnmower races I've heard about too? Those sound kind of funny.
Yeah,
you told me a little bit about that earlier.
Potter Valley, a few years back, they started lawnmower racing. So they kind of like a go-kart in a way. They use a lot of go-kart parts and things
They're like ride-on mowers, basically?
They are a ride-on lawnmower with a souped-up motor.
That's going to be great.
They actually go fast. They had them at a car show that I saw, and those things are loud. So Lakeport's bringing them for four times to come and race and in the infield and do something like that. So that's going to be definitely exciting in that perspective, and we'll see how it goes. Right
on, man. Yeah, that's pretty sick. So let's talk about what you're doing now with racing and some of your dates and all that. So are you? What all are you racing this year? Are you racing just in that Extreme Asphalt Outlaw, or are you going to race other cars?
I believe I'll run a mini stock for Keon Motorsports a few more times, but mainly I'll be racing at Lakeport.
Okay.
Just due to what we had. The Outlaw, I'm going to be racing that full time. Hopefully we can get it back together so I can make the first race. Other than that, I'm always open. If dates I'm open, I'd love to drive someone. Maybe I can hook up with Freddie Champagne, maybe go run a Legend or something once or twice.
Yeah, that'd be great to see you back at Ukiah. I know you did
back up, because I like those and stuff, and I'd definitely like to get back to Ukiah.
You raced for Champagne last year, didn't you? You raced. Did you race the number 7?
I raced the 69 car in the beginning of the year, and I ran the 7 car for Chelsea when they couldn't be there one night towards the end of the year too.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun seeing that. So what are your those are basically your 2011 plans. And I've had a full interview with you on the show before, but those people who may just be watching and not know who Kyle Tellstrom is, tell us about Kyle Tellstrom and experience starting in racing and all that.
Yeah, I've been racing since I was 6.5. Started on outlaw sprint karts and stuff like that, and I've ran around California several different tracks.
Right.
2009 I started, or actually 2007, I started my first full year of Bandoleros at Ukiah Speedway. I was the track champion 2007, 2008.
Did you race outlaw karts at all?
Yeah, I raced both at the same time. I still do to the current day race karts and stuff. Blair Aiken was starting the division, and he gave us a car run, and that was how I started in asphalt, and I really appreciate that because it definitely.
So he actually gave
me.
you a car? That's nice.
He let me run a car for him. He was a car owner, and we ran it, and did all that stuff. So that was cool, and then ran a mini stock 2009, and the King of the Hill champion there, and then last year in the Pro 4 Modified Rookie of the Year, runner up in points, and
right.
I won a lot of the big races and stuff, and so learned a lot from that stuff too.
Sweet, that's cool. So do you got a NASCAR dream yourself?
Oh, I'd love to go to NASCAR. I eat, sleep, breathe. Everything that I do is pretty much revolved around racing. It's all I talk about. A lot of my friends get annoying, but I absolutely have a strong passion for it, and I love it. And I'm working sponsorship stuff and trying to get my name out there because I would absolutely love to try out and go to NASCAR and run something like that because it's something I love to do. I could do it my whole life, and I never get tired of it.
Right on. It can happen for anybody, man. I mean, I'm proud of Trevor. I'll ask you what your thoughts on him. Trevor Bain, who won the Daytona 500 at only 19 years old.
Yeah, it's just that 1 in a million chance. There's so many great drivers throughout this, the United States and stuff. Right. It's just, money definitely nowadays plays a huge part of it. But I mean, it's who you know, or that one chance that someone catches your eye and propels your name, or things like that. So it could go anywhere. You could be, like a lot of people out of Bakersfield and places like that. Derek Thorne, look at him. He qualified pole at the Camping World. What do they call
Derek Thorne's a Lakeport local.
Yeah, he's from Lakeport, and he ran on TV on that the Toyota All-Star Showdown. I mean, that's I don't think I've heard Lakeport Speedway. It's kind of nice to get a driver from such a small town like that out there.
Yeah,
but it's just it's who you know and how you can do it and how what the funding is to get you somewhere.
Right on, man. So let's get on to some announcements. Of course, we're not going to be live, and Ashley, I want to announce you're our official booker now.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see who you can jump up for us next Monday.
Yeah, I'm working on a few.
To be announced. We have a couple possibly in the works that you've been talking to us about. You got a Sean Keown, which was great. Speaking of Sean Keown, which was a lot of fun having him on the show. We had him on the same time as the kid there. That was a lot of fun. So we'll look forward to who we're gonna have. I just say mystery guest for next Monday. 5 p.m. this week and next week due to my extensive schedule. You can watch us live at checkeredflag.tv. There will be a replay at 7 p.m. on Monday night, however, and at LCP TV, Mediacom Channel 8 out of Lake County. Check your local listings to see if you get Channel 8. And, of course, checkeredflag.tv. We're sponsored by Fast Lube Plus, 765 North State Street in Ukiah. Thank you to S&K Automotive, located in Lakeport at 1765 Main Street. Let's get to some announcements that are happening, some things happening around the lake. One of the biggest things I'm involved in is theater acting, which I love being on stage. And I'm actually in The Wizard of Oz. I am the Winky Guard, which is basically the guard to the witch's lair. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be opening up on the 12th. The first date is actually the 12th of May. That's when we open. It's $12 to get in. Lake County Theater Company helps support them. They're actually a nonprofit group. Also, some other things happening around the lake is, I'm announcing for wrestling too. Mm-hmm. Lethal Championship Wrestling presents Spring Slam live at the Brick Hall, located at, I'm trying to remember the exact address, but it's the Brick Hall in Lower Lake. It's at 7 p.m. is when it starts in Lower Lake, California. We've got our independent league.
Amateur.
They're trying to get into the big time, so they're going to put on that much more of a show. Mm-hmm. So yeah, be sure to watch them. 7 p.m. on the April 30th. As a matter of fact, Saturday night, April 30th, 7 p.m. If you're a wrestling fan and you're not, and there's races going on, but if you're a wrestling fan and you want to watch that, you can go to that April 30th at 7 p.m. at the Brick Hall in Lower Lake. Anyway, if anybody wants to call in, 707-462-1407.
Got about 5 minutes left.
We got about 5 minutes left, so you got a quick 5 minutes.
So one thing I'd really like to know about, so Ukiah Speedway is going to get repaved at the end of the year, right?
Yeah, we'll talk about that too. It's in the works right now. They had something planned. We don't know if it's going to be 100% now because, you know, the government, you know,
Yeah, the
Governor
funding,
Brown and the
he's
fundings and
supposed
the
to cut
freezing
things.
and the whole bit, you know, so.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be really cool if we get it done. You know, Ukiah definitely needs it, you know, so if you guys can help the cause, you know, donate to the track and stuff like that.
Yeah, that would be good,
That'd be
too,
really
yeah,
cool to get it. You know,
yeah.
Ukiah definitely needs it. They're kind of falling apart there, and it'd be really cool if they could keep on schedule with what they were planning on doing.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm sure Blair appreciates hearing that, too, giving that shout out. Yeah, you know, it's what keeps racing going, and, you know, if you can donate, you know, we get the track, at least the track paved, and you know, we've got some stuff planned. As a matter of fact, one of the biggest things they wanted to do, and we're going to get Bob and Nadine Strauss back on the show here soon. Stinks because our live button didn't work. We didn't get to record. We were live. We didn't get to record. But we had Bob and Nadine, and they showed the actual track, the track formation that they wanted to do. One of the biggest things they want to do when they get that is, speaking of Wayland Series, is to run the Wheeling Series.
Yeah, I think they're putting a wall all the way around it. You know, they're gonna widen it and.
Why to put a wall around it? And they want to run the NASCAR Wheeling Series, so maybe we'll see people like Matt Scott
maybe they
there.
can become a NASCAR sanctioned track. You know, that'd definitely be a big step for Ukiah Speedway.
Yeah, yes, it would. Yeah, it would. And yeah, things happening great for all the tracks. And one thing you guys are doing at Lakeport is the troops. Salute to the troops. I saw the I saw the paint scheme on the wall there. It looks pretty good. The Fury's got going on there.
David really, you know, he's very appreciative of all the people, men and women serving our country and stuff. You know, so he does some deals to get, you know, troops and, you know, veterans and things like that into the track at a discounted price. You know, to keep them in the community, make them feel like they're important because, you know, they've helped us a lot. Right on.
And one of the things they do too is we're going to talk about real quick too. We've got a couple minutes. Ukiah Speedway does a thing called the Bubba Silva Memorial, which is great for the late Bubba Silva, bless his heart, and you know, Darren Silva. We do a thing in September for that, which is pretty awesome. Lakeport does a thing too, right? Are they doing any kind of
You
memorial?
know, they do the Deke Lindell Memorial.
The Deke Lindell, that's happening this year?
Oh yeah, they do. You know, they do it every year since Lindell's when senior and junior passed
Usually during
away.
4th of July weekend, is that
yeah,
correct?
the last 2 years it has been. You know, that they were very dear to Lake County. You know, they were from there, and Deke was running, you know, some Winston West, you know, NASCAR as today stuff, and you know.
I was honored to debut that day when I started. I got my start at Lakeport Speedway. I want to give them a shout out because I got my start there first announcing. The first day that I started announcing at Lakeport Speedway was the Deke Lindell Memorial of 2008. Yeah, that's when I debuted.
Actually it's a really big race. You know, Bubba Silva, you know, due to his passing a few years ago. No, it's really recent.
That too, yeah.
But you know, Deke Lindell and all them. There's a couple. Tommy Lindell and his son David Lindell run modifieds up there. You know, so and they got the family that come down and do it.
Yeah, the number 2 and the number 11.
Yeah,
I did see their car during the heat races. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's the thing. You know, this year, you know, hopefully get the track paved. Their plans were to get Ukiah to get the track paved for the Bubba Silva.
I believe how many? What are we? No, 2.5 minutes. Yeah, see, this is why yeah, if anybody else would like to call in, 707-462-1407. If not, I want to give our sponsors a shout out one more time. Thank you so much for Matt Scott for calling in, and we had such a good show. I guess people didn't call in because I guess we're doing it taped.
Different time, you know.
Different timing and different tape. You know, I have such a big schedule with everything. I've got to actually fly back to Clear Lake after this to be at TV8, which you can watch us on LCP TV8 Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Give Jed a shout out down there. S&K Automotive, 1765 Main Street in Lakeport. Fast Lube Plus, 765 North State Street in Ukiah. Those are our sponsors. Also, if you want to support public access and see awesome shows like this, $36 for Ukiah for Mendocino Access Television for a year, and that's pretty cool. And then, of course, $25 for Channel 8. Channel 8's in need of some overhaul stuff, and I think it'd be great to see him get in a bigger studio.
Yeah, even sponsoring the show here.
Even sponsor the show here.
Props and make it a bigger
exactly,
thing.
Sponsor the show here too. Right on, man. I appreciate that. That's thumbs up for that. Thanks for everybody for watching. Thank you, Kyle, for being on the show.
Oh, thank you.
That concludes our show. Peace.
See you next.
Flying hard in the wall! Now looking to the inside.